Hi guys, it's Caitlin and welcome back to Chaotic Caitlin, or welcome if you're new. Today we have another baking video, but I filmed it kind of differently and I want to see if you guys like the way I filmed this better. And we are making banana bread, so let's get started. So the first thing you need to do is measure out 140 grams of caster sugar and put it into a mixing bowl. And then you are going to measure out 140 grams of softened butter. So this can be with like a stick of butter that you've left at room temperature for a couple of hours, or like this pot like I have in the UK. I don't know if it's anywhere else, but yeah. And that's kind of already softened. And then you are going to add that to the sugar in the mixing bowl. And then with an electric hand whisk, you are going to cream together the butter and sugar. This basically means putting air into it so that it's fluffy. You know, you do it with cakes too because you want them to be light and fluffy. You don't want them to be dense. So that's why you cream the butter and sugar together, because it makes sure that there is air in the banana bread. And you just want to keep creaming together until you've got like the consistency I got. And then you are going to crack 2 eggs into a separate container so you can see if you've got shell in it. We don't want no shell in our banana bread. And then with a fork you are going to whisk the eggs just so that the yolk is kind of mixed in, and it just makes it easier to mix before you put it in with the butter and sugar. And then we are going to measure out our self-raising flour. Once we've put the eggs to the side, we need 140 grams of self-raising flour. And then we are going to get our mixing bowl with our butter and sugar in and add the eggs and about half of the flour. And then you are going to use a spatula to fold in these ingredients. We don't want to take the air out, so we're not mixing it, we are folding it in, which is done by, as you see here, going around the bowl and then scooping it over until it's all mixed in. So that I don't forget to add the baking powder, I put a teaspoon of it into the other half of the flour that's still in the bowl. And then I give the baking powder and flour a mix just to combine it. Then you are going to get your very ripe bananas, the riper the better honestly, and then you are going to mash them up. The recipe calls for 2 bananas. After peeling the bananas you might want to wash your hands, because that was how my hands ended up. And then you are going to get a fork and mash these up. Once the bananas are mashed, you are going to add them to the mixing bowl with the other half of the flour and the baking powder. Then, like we did earlier, we are going to fold in these ingredients. We do not want to flatten our banana bread. We want to keep it nice and airy, remember, so we fold. Once all our ingredients are combined, we are going to pour the mixture into a lined baking tin or loaf tin, preferably a loaf tin, but I didn't have one. I would recommend lining the tin with baking paper, or I think other people call it parchment paper. Also, a hack for keeping the baking paper in place is using like these clothes pegs, for example, to hold it in place, so it just makes it easier to pour in the tin. Once the mixture is in the tin, you are going to use your spatula to spread it out throughout the bottom of the tin. Do not fatten it though, do not push down on the mixture, we don't want to take out the air, okay? Remember, we don't want to take out the air. And then we are going to put it in the oven at gas mark 4, 100 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 to 30 minutes, and it should come out golden brown.